This recipe is one of my dog's favorites. This is my peanut butter and parsley dog biscuit recipe. It's pretty easy to make. It's got some ingredients that are commonly found in every grocery store. They're very inexpensive to make. I like to make these treats in large batches, and I just freeze some of the dough for use at a later time. You can go through and make the whole recipe, bake the cookies, and freeze the leftovers once they're already baked. If you'd like to do that, or you can freeze the dough for use at a later time. You do need to be careful when making homemade dog treats to remember that these treats don't have any preservatives in them like commercial treats do. So it's important to refrigerate your treats, and they're only going to last you for 10 days, maybe 2 weeks at the most, before you notice that they start to turn bad. You'll notice mold growing on them and things like that. So it's important to remember that. So I have 3 dogs. We go through treats fairly rapidly. If you only have 1 dog and you only feed 1 treat a day, or maybe you don't even feed treats every day, only once in a while, you're going to want to cut the recipe down, make a smaller batch, or just when you make the dough, break it into smaller pieces, like maybe into quarters, and freeze the extra dough for use at a later time. I have quite a bit of stuff here, so you're gonna have to gather some supplies before you start making the recipe. I have a medium-sized mixing bowl and a rubber spatula. You're also gonna need a small mixing bowl and a whisk. Plus all your ingredients, of course. I'm going to mix together my dry ingredients first in the medium-sized bowl, and then we're gonna do the wet ingredients together in the small bowl before we mix them together. The first dry ingredient that I have is 1 cup of almond flour. I'm going to add 1 cup of whole wheat flour. I have 1/4 cup of quick oats. I'm gonna add 1 tablespoon of baking powder. And then I have 1/4 cup of ground flaxseed. That's it for the dry ingredients. I'm just gonna toss those around to make sure everything's well mixed. And then, as I mentioned, we're gonna do our wet ingredients in the smaller bowl before we combine the two. First, I have 1 cup of peanut butter. I have 1/2 cup of water. Now I'm gonna whisk that all together. It's pretty hard to stir in the peanut butter without mixing it together with the wet ingredients first. You're just gonna keep whisking until it's nice and smooth, and then we can combine all of our ingredients together. Before I add in my peanut butter, I'm gonna go ahead and add 1/4 cup of diced parsley. I can't believe I forgot to add the parsley to my peanut butter and parsley dog treats, but I did. So we're just gonna toss that around. I use fresh parsley. If you want, you can use dried parsley. It's up to you, whatever you have on hand or whatever is easier to get at your local grocery store. All right, so that's tossed around. Now I'm gonna add my super creamy peanut butter mixture. And as I said, you whisk it until it's nice and smooth. So it's really easy to mix all together. And then we're just going to combine all of this to make the dough. Now you can see I have a nice dry dough ball. This is the time when you want to preheat your oven. So we're going to preheat it to 325 degrees Fahrenheit. Now you have a couple of options. If you wanted to roll the dough out onto a lightly floured surface, you could do that. You would roll it out until it's about 1/4 inch thick. And then you can use cookie cutters, or if you want to just score the dough with a pizza cutter or a butter knife to make small treats, you can do that. I promise you, your dogs don't care what shape they're in. So I like to just use my fingers, make little treat balls. You can squish them and make them flat if you wanted to. You can make some tiny ones depending on your dog's size. Now I have 3 dogs. I have 2 medium-sized dogs and a large breed. So I can make multiple sizes for my pets. The greatest thing about cooking for your pets is that you can cater every recipe to their unique needs, which is my favorite thing. That's my number 1 reason for feeding my dogs homemade food and treats, is that I can cater every single recipe, whether it's food or treats, to each dog's unique needs. So whether that's size. As far as, cookies like this, I can make small ones for the smaller dogs and large ones for my bigger dogs. Whether it's homemade dog food, I can cut the ingredients, into sizes appropriate for my dog. So my bigger dog has bigger chunks of meat, bigger chunks of vegetables, and my smaller dogs have smaller pieces of meat and vegetables. So I love that about homemade cooking, not to mention, when done right and you make sure that you're adding the supplements and the multivitamins that your dog needs, and you're working with an expert to create recipes that will meet your dog's needs and be nutritionally balanced for him. It is the healthiest option when done properly like that. Obviously, not everybody has the time. So making treats like these once in a while is a great way to add that little bit of nutritional boost to your pet's diet, without having to make homemade meals all the time. Once your cookies are all formed and ready to go, as you can see, I'm placing them on this cookie sheet, and we will bake them in our 325-degree oven for 15 minutes. Then you're gonna shut the oven off and allow them to just sit in there and bake as the oven cools off. Once the oven's cool, your cookies are cool, you can take them out and you can feed them to your dog right away. For all of the nutritional information, if you want to know how many calories are in these treats, how much protein, all of that stuff, just click the link below the video and that will take you to my written guide where all of the nutritional facts are in there. Storage information is in there. Obviously, homemade treats don't have the preservatives that store-bought treats do, so they don't last as long. So make sure you check that out so you know how to store your treats properly.